Hi, you found my channel. I'm brand new. This is Flosstube number 1. My name is Wendy. I've gone by Stitchy Wendy on Instagram and Flosstube for not very long, maybe 4 to 5 months. I was a new user to Instagram. I was kind of fighting gaining one more social media outlet, but I've kept that to stitching only, and things have been good there. And Flosstube, I thought that I had enough movies and TV programs to watch, and just it never really interested me. But when we finally cut the cord with the satellite, I started doing a lot more streaming, and it's like, let me see what this Flosstube is all about that I keep hearing about, and I just never knew that there were so many contributors to it. So I've really enjoyed everything that I've seen and that has been shared with us, all of the tutorials. I've been stitching, for the greater part of my life, and I've learned things, found new designers. I've acquired a lot. Thanks for the enabling of so many of you, and even discovered new shops. So I have a lot of work to share. I have probably about 28 to 30 years, as I have some pieces, I think, that are from my early 20s that I could share and go back to those vintage days, or keep to the last decade or so. My mom taught me to cross stitch when I was 8, and that was 39 years ago. My grandma was a crafty person. She sewed a lot of my my mom's and her siblings' clothes growing up, and she was really into the tricam painting, tulle painting, all kinds of crochet, knitting, embroidery of all sorts, and she was always my encouragement. So I'm going to give a little tribute to my grandmother that passed away in 2008, because I ended up getting one of her cross-stitch pieces when she passed away, and I had also made something for her. I think it was in 2003 that I ended up with. My mom brought it back home. So this is a nativity, and I don't know who it's by. I didn't get that information. Well, that ring light is glaring in it, it looks like. And I don't know if this was like a Basilic kit, or maybe it's a Dimensions kit, and I believe everything was stitched. I might have added a little back stitching to some of their faces, but I just ended up with the fabric, the stitch piece itself, and I had it framed, and I put it up on our mantle at Christmas time. Something of hers, and I do have some. She made me a quilt when I was real young that has painted girls in a quilt in the different patches, and it's in a closet, of course, not out for display. And this is a piece that I made her one year. It is a wooden box. She collected Cupid dolls, and I will insert a picture of some of the Cupids that I have of hers as well. And this was just an Ada, and here's actually the booklet that I got it from. It was a Craftways leaflet, and you can see it there at the bottom. She I don't think she really used used it for keeping anything. This booklet has instructions even in it on how to put the piece onto the backer that was in this lid, and I really don't remember doing it. I don't know if I laced this or if I just taped it in here, if I glued the piece onto the backer that was here. I do remember using craft glue to glue this ribbon down. And inside, I just keep her, I don't know if this is a, what do you call funeral cards, like programs? I keep her funeral program in there. We lived in different states. Since I lived in Alaska, she lived in Oregon, and I didn't really get to see her a lot, but we were pen pals. She is my best pen pal. And I have the last letter that she wrote to me in here. She passed away December of 08, and she wrote this in October of 08. And sometime earlier, I had also stitched this bookmark for her. I made one for my mother also. This is 28 count wood violet linen, just DMC, and that is a Wild Eye ribbon, silk ribbon. Mill Hill bugle beads and seed beads. And I want to say this was a project that was in Cross Stitch and Country Crafts magazine. That magazine, I had, I think, every single issue, and even as a teenager, I would just look through it all the time, all the issues. I would just look through there, and you know how we do. We daydream about things that we wish that we had time to make, or about starting things, and just never did. I think this bookmark, and there was one other piece from the Cross Stitch and Country Crafts magazine that I actually made, stitched up. But then this was, I had sent her this one year too. It was one of those pocket mirrors, again with cupies. And then I keep this is my wedding veil tiara. And I just added these recently. Carrie from Tiger Lily Designs makes these project cards, and I don't use them all the time, but like this, I keep it in there just so I know, or somebody in the future might know who comes across this for some reason, like, what is this? But you can write your information in on the blanks, and these are just available on her website. And I'll if I can edit things and post things correctly, I will put that information down below. All right. I will just show a couple of pieces that I did years and years ago when I was talking to Traveling Stocking Stitcher. I was kind of talking about doing Flosstube, and I said I don't feel like I have a lot of content. And actually, we started boxing up our house 2 years ago to move from here, and so I had already boxed up a number of pieces that we had on the walls, but there are a few out, so I do have some things to share, thankfully. When I first started getting into the really bigger projects, not just like, you know, these little cute Ada pieces, I saw Angels by Marilyn Livett in Bloom, or Lavender and Lace, Told in the Garden artist, designer, and I was collecting angels at the time, and I still somewhat do, but I saw her angels and I just fell in love, and then they had metallics and beads, and oh my, I just had to have at least one. I ended up getting all of them eventually. Not stitching, I just collected the patterns. But this is the first angel that I did complete. Angel of Love I'm getting glare from the window and the lights. Thought I had tested everything so I wouldn't get all that glare, but obviously not. I'll have to fix that for next time. This was stitched on 28 count raspberry linen. No, 32 count. I wished it had been 28 count because the beads just didn't fit all evenly on there. And if it was a 28 count, they would have been perfect. It's not too horrible, but that kind of set off my love for all the embellishments, especially with memorabilia and all the designs we have now with the buttons, chatelaine. My stitching tastes have changed. I used to do a lot of memorabilia, and I had a lot of mermaid stitched, and I just got to like, why do I have mermaids on my wall? Kids never said anything, you know, family, friends have never said anything. They ooh and ah about all the beads and the work and whatnot, but I stitched them because I love the metallics and I love the bling, but I just didn't know why I had mermaids and if I wanted to continue stitching mermaids for the walls. So I discovered chatelaines, and I ended up selling a lot of my memorabilia charts because I just wanted to focus mainly on those. And I haven't stitched a lot, and I only have a couple whips, but I'd rather have those on my walls now, and things like flowers, woodland creatures, and I don't know if that means I've matured. I definitely don't think I have mentally. Okay, so my next set of projects, I think I went to, I have journals. I don't know if other people have ever had these. I'm getting a little sidetracked here. These stitching photo journals were what I just logged everything into for years. I have 4 of them, and then they stopped being published. And then Nordic Needle, which is now no longer in business either, they had some printed. And now Fat Quarter Shop has them, thankfully. A little different format, but it's fine. And Autumn, Yellow Rose Stitcher, she had asked at one point, like, why do we keep journals of these? Like, why do we really care? And I don't know, it's just, this is where my passion is, so it's nice to know what I've done in my lifetime, and my children will probably get these, and they might just be like, Mom really kept a lot of weird stuff. So that's something that they can settle when I'm gone. Anyhow, back to my next project. I think these are my next projects. I would have to check my journals if these were actually my next projects after the Angel of Love. These are the Canadian Journey samplers from Jeanette Douglas. These ones reminded me of Alaska. I first lived in Juneau when my parents first moved us up there. And this is the Pacific Rim sampler. Let's see. I ended up getting rid of the halo light. These are filled with specialty stitches, but they came with embellishment packs, and I don't know if this one had silk threads. I can't remember. It probably did. There's a charm for sure, this sand dollar. And I don't think I changed the wording at all on this one. No, I didn't. And then the next one, I was going to say, I didn't say what I stitched that on, but I don't know if you saw it well enough to care. It was stitched on 28 count blue sky linen. All right, the next one of hers, I can't remember if this one was titled Cottage Country. No, this one is the Northern Shield sampler. Pretty sure. Yes, Northern Shield sampler. I did change some wording in here. I think right here this said Northern Shield, and I changed it to North to Alaska. And again, it came with embellishment pack with beads and some silks. What else? Oh, I want to say maybe this said like Shimmering Lakes. I changed the wording to Banco Lake, which was where I used to spend a lot of time at. Banco Lake is in Talkeetna, which is also the gateway to Denali. A lot of the aircraft take off from there for tours, and then the hikers, that's their start-off point is in Talkeetna. And also there was a, I want to say a Canadian flag button here, and I went to one of the tourist shops and I got an Alaska charm, like for a bracelet. What else? And this one won me a ribbon at the state fair. I also wanted to say Jeanette Douglas is so awesome, just keeping in touch with the people that stitch her designs. This was clear back in 2003 when I stitched this, and I had trouble with the cabin pattern. I don't remember specifically what was on it that was causing me difficulty, but I emailed her, and you know, I really didn't expect her to reply, and she replied right away. She was so kind, and she gave me a new kind of diagram to follow. And I mean, since then I've followed her on Facebook, and you make comments and she replies. And I have other of her designs. I have a whip right now, but I have others in my stash, and I do plan to stitch them. I love them. Okay, and then this is another one. This is the Northern Light sampler. So hard to see with the lighting and everything. But again, had Alaska all over it, even though I know she made it for Canada. And this one gave me a second place ribbon. And this was stitched on Blue Dynasty by Silk Weaver. And then going back in time, if people really want to know, the Northern Shield is on 28 count lamb's wool. And also, this is one of the things I didn't know before Flosstube. Lori Holt mentioned that she has library cards, library pockets that she puts on the backs of her pieces so she can pull those out and remember what the design was, what the fabric was, etc. All right, and this is, I'm going to go over the last one of Jeanette Douglas's samplers that I've done here. This is the Prairie West sampler. I decorated my oldest son's nursery in cowboy stuff. So saw this, loved Jeanette Douglas, and I knew I had to stitch it for him. And trying to look at this to see if there's anything that I changed. Something with, I know for sure I changed this. You can customize. I put Lazy L Ranch for a last name. Starts with L. I want to say maybe I changed something with the, I can't think of what those are now. You know the stamps that they put on cattle? Brands, that's what they're called. Something with the brands, their meaning. I remember researching those and now I can't tell you what those stand for. And this was stitched on Fallen Leaves Jubilee, which was made by Hand Dyed Heaven, which is no longer in business. All right. This is a kind of weird setup. We have, this is a really long fireplace here, and there's, the hearth is raised. And normally I have this peacock guy and his little friend just all in that space. But since I was sitting here, instead of just having a plain brick wall behind me, I decided to put another cross stitch piece that normally hangs in our bedroom, but I just put it here temporarily. That's Rouge Passion by Alessandra Adelaide. And I don't know if other people know about these brick claws. I only discovered them this spring. I use them inside and outside, but they're just hung in place by tension. You put this piece underneath the brick and kind of just stretch it over the top of the brick. And as long as you have a piece of brick that this really fits on, because sometimes, you know, bricks aren't uniform. Sometimes they're a little skinnier than others. But I haven't had anything fall, and you don't have to go drilling holes in your bricks and mortar. Also, like people sharing on Flosstube, I would never have known about Mary Ellen's Best Press. Where has this been for the last 30 years? This stuff gets out the most stubborn wrinkles. I was preparing before I started filming this video and am quite amazed. And that is one thing I told myself I wouldn't say. Love it, and I just said it. On Instagram, I posted this week, and also my personal Facebook. I've had these pair of Ginger embroidery scissors for many years, and I noticed that they just weren't staying together very well. And I'm like, whatever, they're just getting looser. But when I went to snip one of my threads, I don't know if you can really see, half of that screw just broke off, the screw head. And I contacted Ginger, and they have a full lifetime warranty. They sent me another pair of scissors, and no charge. They came quickly. The only thing is that I really love these because they're small, they're light, they just fit my fingers so well. And like I said, I've had them for years and years. And the new pair, they're heavier, they're a bit longer. So I might go researching for more of these. I think the last time I did look for them, they were only available in gold, which, you know, not a huge deal. And they're not terribly expensive. These were maybe $24 maybe. And I want to say I got them at Joann's or Michael's. But anyway, it is a bummer to me because I love these scissors, but it's great that Ginger will replace their product. And I'm sure these ones probably cost more. They're heavier. Like I said, they're heavier, they're bigger, and wow, they're really tight. So I think I'm just going to continue using my old ones until the screw completely falls out altogether, maybe. I thought about just trying to get a screw replacement, but then I realized I don't have a way of getting that little piece of screw that's in there out. Anyway, great warranty, full lifetime. Okay, I don't have any haul to speak of this week, but I did have a finisher finish this piece off for me. I want to say this was a freebie design. I'm not positive on that though. Cottage Garden Stitchery put that out. But I have my finisher just make it into a styrofoam stand-up. I thought since it had gifts on it, and it is, I would say like those Victorian Christmas colors where there's mauves and teals, greens. I would just put it underneath the Christmas tree like a package. I had this fabric, and she ended up putting the bow and the ribbon on it for me too. The second time I had her finish something, very pleased. I was happy to receive that. She had it for a while because she couldn't find just the, the right bow to go on top. All right, and then I just finished this one last night. So it's an FO, not an FFO. This is Heidi. Oh. There we go. Heidi by Veronique Enginger. I am horrible with French. I can't even keep up with English. This was first published in a French magazine, and I think that's the only place that it's been published. And I'm not even going to try to say the name. You can't really find this. I searched Pinterest. You can find the magazine sometimes on eBay. I looked for French magazines and even the stash unknown pages, and I couldn't find it. The English equivalent of the magazine's name is A Stitch in Time, and it was a special mountain edition. But again, that is one of the designers that I had no knowledge of before Instagram. I saw somebody stitch this and I just thought it was just the sweetest. And I'm going to be making it into a drawstring bag. I have some Swiss dot fabric here and this trim. My daughter, my 13-year-old, paints, and so I asked her if I could use one of her canvases for this part. And so far, and my kids have made an appearance, and the dogs have behaved. That's miraculous. We have a Great Dane puppy. He's just over a year old, 120 some pounds, and we have 2 Yorkies. And one Yorkie and him, just they play fight all the time. These I finished recently, 2 weeks ago. I just loved the nostalgia of them. And this one, I might go and I might do a back stitch underneath this bird because he kind of blends into that fabric. It's 32 count petite point on gray. This is slipping. These are by Couleur de 12 on Etsy, and I'll write the name below. And there's, I plan to finish these as stand-ups, I believe. There's one more, the little boy. And the way I should have done it is had 2 boys and a girl, but they didn't have 2 boys. And this is, I love variegated thread, but when you do stuff like, stitch stuff like this, I mean, you look at it and think, should I have fussy cut that so that the threads blended in better, but I didn't, and I know one's going to see it except for all of you now, and family. I was going to say just family, but now I showed it to Flosstube, so. Okay, I believe this design came out at Market last year. This is by New York Dreamer. Try not to get glare. And it's stitched with Weeks and DMC. Like their picture, I'm going to finish this on this piece from Hobby Lobby. And I have some trim. I haven't really decided. I have some rip rack and I have some mini palms from Lady Dot. And I haven't decided which of those I want to use yet. And I have Bear in a brown color, Ocala blue, and Flaky. See, being on this side, I really can't tell if the lighting is great to be able to show you the colors. And there's also, I know that she's just come out with some other designs relating to coffee, but there was one that was also released. I don't know if it was at Market last year, but it was released last year that I have also. And there's a little bit different colors in the stitching, so I have enough trim between the 2 of them to balance them out. And while I'm thinking about it, it's going to tell you what I stitched this on. I don't think it was what they called for. Uh, 32 count light mocha Belfast by Zweigart. All right, this is a My Big Toe design. God is my refuge. No, it's Refuge and Strength. My Big Toe 32 count cream Belfast using Weeks Dye Works. And I have a frame to finish it. This is from Hobby Lobby. It was what was listed on their design. I've been doing a lot of stitching and realized I have so much to finish off that I need to get my finishing done. All right, this I finished in, I think this date says 2019. It's letters from Nora. It's the W using all that called for. The fabric is by Hand Dyed Heaven, that's no longer in business, and it's called Candy Floss. And I just recently ordered from pictureframes.com. This brown really matches the brown in her hair and around the W. So I thought that was a good choice on my part. As you can see, like this has a bright red frame. I don't know if some of you really try to match up your tones of wood, try to get them all matched up, but I look at each piece and I've just try to accent what's in the piece itself. And I've never had anyone come into my home like, oh, that frame doesn't match that one over there. So I don't really think it matters to that degree unless I have friends that just are as decoratively challenged as I am. So it's just not something that I ever like sweat when I look at pieces and try to decide to match up frames with other ones. Okay, one more fairly recent finish. I finished this in I guess it was in April, and I think that's when I made my first Instagram post. I had stitched a chatelaine years ago, and I gave it to my mother-in-law to commemorate her trip to Africa. That one was Serengeti, and it was huge. It ended up being 36 inches square. I just finished Hawaii in April, and it is 24 inches across. And of course, you're not going to be able to see all that bling, and because there's so many metallics and crystals. Went to Hawaii a number of times. Being in Alaska, it was only 4.5 to 5 hour plane ride. And it was a great getaway during the winters. I went there with my mother when I was a teenager, and then later on. Numerous trips, great memories. This took me almost 4 years to stitch, just because there are some times where just the continual stitching kind of just bogged me down, and I found I had to intersperse smaller projects to keep me motivated to keep stitching on this one. Okay, and then since I said that I had a lot of finishing to do, I still have more in the back bedroom that I could bring out here, but I didn't. But I thought I would show these because I just got some trims and whatnot to finish them off. So I'll be busy with finishing these. Lavender and Lace, Marilyn Livet in Bloom. She used to put out freebies, and I miss her designing. She passed away a number of years ago. But she used to give out freebie angels every year. And when I worked, I would take them to lunch, and I stitched a number of them. I didn't stitch them all. And at first, my plans were to make a big kind of patchwork Christmas quilt with them and display at Christmas time. But I ended up using a bunch of scraps for the pieces, and they're all different sizes. So, I mean, that would be a really odd quilt wall hanging to me. So I decided that what I have here, the smaller ones I'll make into ornaments, and then the others I will make into some type of stand-up probably. So I'll just go through these fairly quickly. Might have to stand. And I don't think I even kept record of what I stitched these, what these fabrics were that I stitched them on. I think this one was my favorite. At least of the ones I stitched. I don't remember what the rest of them look like. Here's some little ones. And the last one, this was the only one that I did on Ada. And I really like this, I don't know what you call that, filigree. So you really do get a dry throat after all this talking. Excuse me. I'm an 80s child. I had tons of strawberry shortcakes. And this is Pink Daisies on Etsy. I have a number of her travel cups. They're stainless tumblers, I guess you would call them. Excuse me. I am not disappointed at all in any that I have. I have Poochie, Care Bear, Strawberry Shortcake, oh, and Holly Hobby. They're all smooth. There's no rough edges at all. Very pleased. It takes her a while to get them finished, like 6 to 8 weeks, but it's worth it. All right, I'm going to just show you. I did Mania for the first time this year. That's another thing I had no idea it existed until following Flosstube. So did my first Mania, and I did start almost every day. I haven't counted my whips because I did decide that if I had finished that I would do a start, and I haven't kept track of which I finished and which I've started. So anyway, I have a lot. I'm just going to show you the whips that I'm working on currently. I do Sunday or Sabbath stitching, and I have a spinner wheel app that I just spin and let it decide what I'm going to work on the Sunday. And today it chose Wandering Sheep by Lindy Stitches. And oddly, the spinner wheel has chosen this, I think, about 3 different times, which is fine because I really enjoy working on it. And as you can see with the design had, I believe Stephanie, the designer, said that those were her daughter's initials. I decided just to put more of those little flowers on his rear, or her rear. Oh, and another thing I didn't know about was really a thing before Flosstube were project bags. I mean, I had project bags, but I didn't know that there were people that had Etsy shops for project bags. So the smaller project I always kept in the 31 bags. So that's where Wandering Sheep lies. And that's just the called for fabrics and threads. This is my in the car project. I made I made one hedgehog that's by this designer. And I have another hedgehog chart kit, actually. This is a kit, just a small start, but this is where I can sit and stitch while my daughter's at dance, or my youngest is at jiu-jitsu. And again, since it's a small little project, it's in another 31 bag. And then the last one, since I just finished that Heidi design, I have a project that I have as a gift for someone, and I want to get it done before fall officially arrives. So this is Mill Hill Button and Beads Autumn, what's it called? Fall Beach. And hopefully it won't take more than a week or two. And I have the frame from Mill Hill. If you've never stitched these, they're fun, and there are so many to choose from. I have this wrapped up still, but there's Mill Hill frame to come with it. And of course there's the beads and the pumpkin button. And Stephanie Webb, I think it was on her last Flosstube Lindy Stitches, she said that she just didn't get the button. She said, here you have all this delicate stitching and then the small little beads, and then just kind of throw this chunk of button. And I love these kits, and I commented something like, now I don't know if I love them as much as I used to after you point that out. But I still have many to stitch, and maybe when it comes to the buttons, I'll look at them to see if they're really embellishing or taking away and putting the spotlight just on the button. I have that project in a bag from Black Cat Cross, my ex-stitchery, and I believe she was on Etsy. It's a fun ocean mermaids on the inside. I think it's little seahorses. And then it had a floss keep here too. And now I think I'm done talking. I really didn't expect it to go on for this long. I thought I was going to be struggling because I usually talk really fast, and I'm hoping that it wasn't too much for a first floss tube, because I really wanted to stick to only maybe 10 to 15 minutes. Wow. I thank you for finding this channel. I thank you for watching if you stayed this far with me. And if you like what you saw, please like, subscribe, get your notifications. And I don't know how often I will be doing these videos. I don't want to do once a week at all, maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe once a month, but there will be another one. So I appreciate you watching, and I will see you next time.